sellers slashing prices like the Fruit Ninja, new listings dropping off of a cliff, and inventory retreating hard. Did Broward just peak? Well, the numbers are in and they're not what most people expected. What's up, y'all? Jake Fletcher here with the Fletcher Group at eXp Realty, your Greater Miami and Broward real estate agent and the team leader of the Fletcher Group at eXp Realty. And in this video, we're going to be breaking down the latest data for single-family homes in Broward County. So we're going to be diving into demand trends, inventory shifts, seller behavior, and what it all means if you're thinking about making a move or listing your property for sale. And you already know, if you want to talk strategy, for your next purchase or your next sale, the link is down below to book a call with me in the description. So, you can make the best decision for yourself and for your family. We'll go over your specific circumstance and situation and figure out what the best strategy is for you, okay? So let's start off with demand. We had 1,029 sales in August. That's down 5.2% month over month. You can see in the green line there, the little tick downwards, and it's down 15.5% year over year, from 1,218 back over here, okay? I think it was actually right there. That was last August, so 15.5% down in 1 year for sales, okay? Now, on top of that, the closed price to original price ratio, which is the blue line there, and just in case you don't know, the closed price to original price ratio is an average across the market expressed as a percentage of how far did sellers have to come down from what they were originally listed at to what they ultimately sold at. So if it was listed at 100,000 and it sold for 92,000, that's a 92% closed price to original price ratio, okay? So on top of the decrease in sales, the closed price to original price ratio also dropped to 94.7%, which is the lowest that we've seen since February of 2015, okay? So 10 years. In the last decade, we have not seen a closed price to original price ratio this low for Broward single family homes. So sellers are having to cut like they're Jason Voorhees just to get the deal done, down from 95.0% in July and 95.8% a year ago over here, okay? So, buyer leverage is increasing and we're starting to see that reflected across the board, okay? Now, let's talk about inventory next. So active number of listings, that's our green line there, versus months of inventory, which is the blue line. Months of inventory is just if no new listings came on the market, how long would it take to sell the existing supply of inventory, okay? So inventory tells us an even more interesting story here. Active listings dropped 7.7% month over month. So looking at that green line, I mean, it looks like just going straight off of a cliff there. They dropped from 6,955 to 6,417 in August, but compared to last year, we are still up 14.5% from 5,603 listings over here. So we're still up, but we're seeing a drastic decline in the number of active listings on the market. And if we see that trend continue, well, that could spell big trouble for buyers in the future. But as of right now, we're actually seeing that, prices are going to be coming down, as we're going to see. We've seen a trend of prices coming down, as we'll be getting to. But months of inventory held steady at 6 months of inventory. That's the blue line there. Looks like it's trending down. We'll see if it goes back into seller territory. But right now, it is what is known as a textbook balanced market. That's 6 months of inventory. Over 6 months of inventory is considered a buyer's market because it favors buyers. Less than 6 months of inventory is considered a seller's market because it favors sellers. And that's actually a slightly better position for sellers right now than what we're seeing in Miami-Dade. So if you're a seller of a single family home in Broward, huzzah. So Miami-Dade is well into buyer's territory at a 7 months of inventory. Now, we may have actually seen the peak inventory in January back over here when we had 8 months of inventory. So we've actually seen months of inventory going down since the beginning of the year. And, part of that is due to there being less inventory on the market, okay? Although, we definitely are going to keep an eye on that, like I said, and see where it goes from here. If we go back into a seller's market, that'll be very interesting. Now, with supply pulling back, it's very possible that Broward has hit a sort of short-term ceiling in terms of inventory levels, okay? Now, here's where things get spicy, and I don't even have a spicy link in my bio, but new listings fell off hard. So that's the blue line there. Green line is the number of expired listings, but look at that blue line for a number of new listings. You know, that thing is even more steep than the number of active listings, right? Now, new listings fell hard, down 21% month over month, dropping by 413 listings to just 1,552 in August. That is a steep decline for just a single month. And in the meantime, expired listings are only up slightly, 1.5% month over month and 3.9% year over year. So it shows that some sellers are still missing the mark on pricing. You know, we've seen that expired listings trend going up through the beginning of and through this whole year. So, you know, there's a good amount of sellers who expired and they're just not relisting. They're either, you know, waiting for interest rates to come down or, you know, price rebounds. A lot of them think that, you know, they're going to see prices go back up again. So for whatever reason, it's, you know, choking off fresh inventory in a big way. I've actually had anecdotal conversations with sellers saying that they're waiting for, you know, rate drops, and they think that that's going to bring a lot more buyers into the market. And I've also talked to a lot of other agents that are, you know, on the ball type of people that, you know, have a lot of listings and stuff that'll have been saying the same thing, as well as, you know, sellers are just not able to get the prices that they need to break even or to make the profit that they're looking for. And, you know, if you're going to have to take a loss on the condo, some people are, or take a loss on the home, then some people are thinking, well, let me just wait a little bit and see if prices go back up. We will see what happens with that. But speaking of pricing, you know, let's go ahead and close with pricing and days on market. So average days on market rose to 86, up 4 days from July and up 26 days year over year, which is a 43.3% slowdown. Looking at that green line, you know, since mid 2022, it's just been an upward trend for days on market. You know, we were at, you know, almost like low 20s. It was around like 24, 25, 26 days on market around here at its quickest. And then, you know, since then, now, like I said, we're up to 86 days on market. So it's been a big shift in the other direction in terms of the time it takes to go from on the market to sold. All right. Now, that is not a small change, but here is the twist. Median sale price is actually up just slightly. You know, Broward hit 623,000, which is up 3,000 from last month and up 20,000 from last year. So single-family homes are doing great in Broward, especially compared to Miami-Dade single-family homes, which are down 3% since April. So Broward is seeing a lot of stability in single-family home prices. You know, it's you know, pretty much prices have only dipped $2,000 total over that same time frame since April. So if we see in the blue line there, if you go back to April, that was like the peak of this year, and prices are only down $2,000 since then, whereas in Miami-Dade, they're down like $20,000, okay? So that's just a 0.3% softening versus 3% in Miami-Dade, so 10 times better, right? It's actually holding up pretty impressively well, I gotta say. So what is the takeaway, my friends? Well, Broward's market is definitely cooler than last year, but it's holding stronger than Miami. And we've got price resilience, shrinking supply, a market that might have already passed its inventory peak. So, you know, at the same time that buyers still have more time and more options, more room to negotiate than they've had in years, you know, it may not last forever, okay? And that's not me being Mr. FOMO. It's just you guys saw the graphs just now. Inventory is going down. Even though sales are down, you know, months of inventory is looking like it's going down as well. So, you know, if we get back into a seller's market, we could see more demand coming into the market, especially as we're expecting to see, you know, and waiting for rates to drop, you know, so, you know, we could see demand come back into the market if that happens. So, whether you're waiting for rates to drop or wondering, if now is the moment to strike, it's all about your personal specific game plan, okay? So if you're unsure, if you'd like to be more sure than you currently are, use the link down below in the description to book a free strategy session with me on my Calendly, or all my personal contact information is down there. You guys can reach out to me directly and we will help to build that strategy together. That's what I'm here to do, to be a resource for the community and to help you guys out. So if you appreciate that, smash the like button, subscribe, make sure you ring the bell so you don't miss videos like this in the future. And I would really appreciate that. Helps me to grow the channel and lets me know that I'm doing a good job and that you guys appreciate it. So, it's always a pleasure. Jake Fletcher here with the Fletcher Group at eXp Realty, and I will see you on the next one. Peace.